Hello and good morning. It is morning while I'm filming this. My name is Amy. If you're new here, whether this is your first time or you've been here before, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here with me. As I start shifting things that I'm talking about slightly, I wanted to give a little background on what I feel spirituality is. It's a very personal experience, and honestly, I think that's what is the most important part to me. I did grow up religious. I remember as I was a young adult finding my way back into a church because I was at such a low place in my life and sitting there and crying, being like, why don't I feel anything here? You know, if I can't feel it here, where am I gonna feel more? I was just so disconnected. I don't remember what kind of started me on the quest, but I started reading books and having my own experience of personal growth and self-awareness become internal, which is what it should be. But I didn't know that at the time. I realized that the reason I didn't feel anything in certain spaces was because I wasn't having the experience that was aligned for me. I was having an experience that someone else told me I was supposed to have. And if you do this, you'll feel this way. And that was not my experience. You know, I'd sit around looking and thinking, you know, what am I doing wrong? It appears that other people are having this specific feeling and I'm not. So when I started on my quest, I mean, to me also, spirituality is very much about understanding and recognizing who I am that is separate from my ego, and understanding that I'm not my ego. I believe, in my experience, spirituality is also very much this kind of coming back to yourself. It's this undoing of all of the limiting beliefs, blocks, conditioning that have been created around each of us that aren't the truth, they aren't our truth. It's about gaining more self-awareness and seeing who you are, who your soul is, your higher self, who you actually are beyond this human part of you. Because I fully believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And one of the things that stood out to me so much as I started reading different books was that there was so much consistency in every single book that fell under the spiritual category. There was no contradicting what one author said on this topic over here and this author said on that topic over there that seemed kind of unrelated, but at their foundation was about spirituality. And I thought that was amazing. As I would read one book, it would talk about something that wasn't on my radar, and then I'd say, oh, what is this? I'm curious about this, let me learn about it. And that would lead me to another book or documentary or class or, you know, something that led me to having a deeper understanding of something and then applying it in my own life or observing it in my own life. I never felt that previously for anything else I had really explored or researched. As I said when I started this, it's such a personal experience. That's what spirituality is. We are each individual. We are here and we actually have an ego because it's what makes us different and see the world from a different lens than everybody else. So there are important factors to it. Our experience is about coming inward and seeing who we are physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of that. And we are not the same as anyone else. So if we're looking outside of ourselves to discover who we are, we're never gonna have answers. We're always gonna be left feeling empty, disconnected, not satisfied. We can do things that will temporarily kind of mask that, but it's never gonna be forever. And to be honest, I mean, that is why I was at such a low point. I hit a bottom. I've never felt the way I did at that time. And I remember one time coming home and going to bed at like 4 p.m. and feeling like, what is this all about? You know, I feel nothing and everything I'm doing is not helping me. Nothing is helping me feel something. And so this big part of the journey, I've always been seeking. But my big, deep part of the journey started about 10 years ago now. And it has been this unfolding, this undoing of ideas, beliefs, mindsets, fears that just do not serve me anymore. They were never meant to serve me. And those came from people before me and people I was exposed to who also didn't have much self-awareness or had conditioning. And that is not a critique to anyone. That is a part of this. But I am so grateful that I hit a bottom to say, you know what? I can't live like this anymore. I don't want to feel so complacent. I want to have a deeper experience. There was something in me that knew that was possible. And I followed that. For me, spirituality has also been very much about learning how to heal aspects of myself, to heal trauma, to heal what wasn't provided to me emotionally, especially. Some of that has come through talk therapy. Some of that has come through different energetic sessions and spiritual sessions. For example, I am really connecting to Reiki. I was certified many years ago, and it is something that's coming back for me again. I now feel more powerfully than ever, and it is so much about that actual energy clearing and becoming more conscious of how our energy is guiding and leading us, where it is blocked, where it is affected by things around us that aren't serving us. I practiced a lot of yoga. I still practice yoga, but that was a huge part at the very start of my journey. And to me, that is more about that physical and mental body, especially because you are connecting to your breath. You are moving your body. You are moving emotions out of your body. If you aren't physically moving your body, you are holding on to so much that is just there and stagnant. That's why you'll see people crying in a yoga class. That's why you have so many emotions that come up, and it can even be anger and frustration, and you're mad at the teacher. I teach yoga too. I get it. And I used to always say to my classes, if you get mad at me during this, it means it's working. There are just so many ways that we can connect, and it's about learning who we are as a whole. We are whole beings. We aren't just physical. We aren't just spiritual or mental. We are all of it. It is so important to do the work to actually be able to kind of get back to yourself, who you are, understand your emotions, what they're telling you, to let them help you and serve you. Your physical body, how important your health is in keeping you aligned and keeping you connected. Spiritually, of course, is what this is all about, but we can only connect so much spiritually if we are doing the work everywhere else. I once heard that we can only connect to those things outside of us as deeply as we are connected to our own selves. So if you are seeking outside of yourself to connect, you're probably not very connected to anything because you're not actually recognizing how connected you are internally. And that is number one, what matters the most. So yes, to me, spirituality is this experience of learning who I am, my higher self, my soul, separating myself from my ego, being able to actually observe who I am separate from that, and live from a place that feels much more aligned to what my greatest good is, how I can live my most authentic and highest vibe life, how I can do that to be of service to the world and the people around me, and to just continue on that path of following what that is for me and learning how to clear the things from me that aren't serving me, just gaining more of that self-awareness, connecting internally, knowing that what is there is so much bigger and more powerful and abundant, and there's so much more guidance there. I also believe that spirituality is very unique to each person. There are aspects of it that are seasonal, and maybe what you're focused on right now is yoga classes, maybe it is Reiki sessions, maybe it is being in nature. Whatever it is that is helping you learn more about you and connect to yourself is where you're at, and it's the experience you're supposed to be having. Meditation is huge for that. I meditate at minimum once a day. It's helping me actually quiet my mind. When we pray, we are the ones talking to the universe, God, your higher power, whatever you want to call it. And when we meditate, we're listening. Most of us aren't listening enough. So much of what you are seeking is in that quiet space. That's why it's so important to do it. And if you say my mind's too loud, I can't actually meditate, trust me, I was like that too. I started with 1-minute meditations and it has changed my life. If you think your mind's too loud, you definitely need it. Wherever you're at on your spiritual journey, just lean into it, embrace it. Know that you're where you're meant to be. Sometimes the things that we are most resistant to are the things that are going to be best for us. And remember that the anticipation of doing something is always harder than actually doing it. And that includes looking at yourself and seeing areas that maybe you're not that proud of or you have some shame around, that is a part of this. That is a part of this spiritual growth and experience. So start leaning into those little nudges, those little whispers that keep circling back to you, because that is where you're going to actually find that growth. If it is picking up the phone and calling someone you've been avoiding, sending an apology, signing up for therapy, whatever that is, follow that little nudge. I would love to hear what you think about this, where you're at on your spiritual journey. Leave a comment, send me a message. I have links below for how you can contact me. I hope that this week you are able to tune into yourself more and recognize the guidance of what your next indicated action is for yourself, for your personal growth. Trust that. And the more you trust it, the more that trust muscle will build and grow. I'm sending you so much love and so many good vibes. I will talk to you next time. Bye.